A very warm greetings to everyone, dear authors and invited guests. Welcome to Technical Session 7C. Myself, Karthik Bharadwaj, and this session would be moderated by me. On behalf of Global Knowledge Research Foundation, it's my great pleasure to welcome you to the 9th International Congress on Information and Communication Technology, ICICT 2024, London, UK. The 9th edition of the conference is being organized in a hybrid mode. The physical event was organized in London, UK on 19th and 20th Feb 2024, and the virtual event is being held through Zoom, that is 21st and 22nd February 2024. I hope you will enjoy the knowledgeable and interactive session through the day. In the session, we have 6 presentations. Each presenter will be given 12 minutes for their presentation, 2 minutes for question answer round. On 10 minutes, I will raise a gentle reminder. There is another request to all the participants that you all stay connected with us till the closing remark. If you have any query or update, you can write it to me in the chat box. Just before we get started, I would like to introduce you all with the session chair, Dr. Tanpurya Chaudhary, Professor Research, CXC Department, Associate Dean Research, Graphic Era, deemed to be University, Dehradun, India. Dr. Tanpurya Chaudhary has 10 years of experience in teaching as well as research. Currently, he's working as a professor, research, CXC Department, Associate Dean Research, Graphic Era, deemed to be University, Dehradun, Uttarakhand, India. His areas of interest includes human computing, soft computing, cloud computing, data mining, etc. He is a lifetime member of ITA, member of IEEE, and member of ITE UK and other renowned technical societies. Sir, kindly address our participants.
Thank you very much. To be added, I am having near about 18 years of profession.
Now we are moving forward to the next session chair, Dr. Mohammad Tahid, Professor, Thomson River University, Canada. Dr. Mohammad Tahid is a professor, Thomson River University, Canada, teaching interest, optimization, computation, LP, IP, nonlinear, discrete, stochastic, multi-objective, etc. Operations research, data mining, research interests are metric algorithms, inspired computing, computational intelligence, evolutionary computing, artificial intelligence, and their applications to data analysis, big data optimization, engineering problems, industrial and mechanical, optimal control, wireless sensor networks, operational research. Sir, kindly address our participants. I think so, sir is facing some network issue.
I think sir has joined right now. We can go ahead.
For the first presentation, I would like to call Adabalam for the paper title, A New Classification of Target Coverage Models in WSN Survey Algorithms and Future Directions. Sir, kindly proceed with your presentation.
If he is not responding, we can move forward to the next presentation. And if he'll join later, then we can start. Karthik, hope I'm audible to you.
Yes, sir, you are audible to us. It must be some network issue from my side. Let's move forward to the next presentation. For the next presentation, I would like to call. For the next presentation, I would like to call LBP for the paper title, Application of Negative Selection Algorithm to Detect Distributed Denial of Service Attacks. Sir, you can proceed with your presentation.
Hello, just a minute. Okay, are you seeing my screen? Hello, are you listening to me?
Yes, sir. Your screen is visible to us.
Okay, thank you. So, good afternoon from Brazil. My name is Caleb, and my students Daniel and Rodrigo and I will present this research paper called Application of the Negative Selection Algorithms to Detect Distributed Denial of Service Attacks. So we prepared this presentation as follows. We'll talk a little bit about our context and main goals. Then we'll briefly discuss about network protocols, following by the DDoS attacks. Next, we'll present our main algorithm called negative selection algorithm, followed by our methodology and results, and we'll discuss a little bit our results and our conclusion. So, as we know, the number of security vulnerabilities has dramatically increased in the last few years, not only because of the digital transformation that happened, especially at the COVID-19 pandemic, but also because the existence of no problems on the current technologies, such as the network protocols, they justify the rise of these kinds of attacks. One very known attack is called the DDoS, or distributed denial of service. This attack uses, for instance, lack of reliability of the UDP protocol to increase this damage. Okay, so since we need to identify the difference between a normal network traffic and a DDoS attack network, we used a bio-inspired algorithm called negative selection algorithm, or NSA, to classify these packets over the network. In our research paper, we describe how we developed this negative selection algorithm to detect the DDoS attacks using an extensive database with simulations of attacking different protocols, UDP, NTP, among others. So we also try to understand the performance of the NSA of our study. From now on, my students Daniel and Rodrigo will continue the presentation. Please, Daniel and Rodrigo.
Hello, my name is Daniel. Caleb, next slide, please. So in our study, we discussed 3 protocols that are targeting DDoS attacks: UDP, DNS, and NTP. Network protocols serve as a common language for computers. Even when computers have diverse software and hardware, protocols enable them to communicate with each other. The first one, UDP, is a communication protocol widely used across the internet for time-sensitive transmissions. It speeds up the communications by not requiring the 3-way handshake. However, this makes UDP vulnerable to DDoS attacks, as attackers can flood a target server with UDP traffic without obtaining the server permission to initiate a communication. The other protocol is the DNS, domain name system, a protocol that translates human-readable domain names into IP addresses used by computers to communicate on the network. These make communications easier by associating website names with their corresponding IP addresses. The last one that are discussed in our study is the network time protocol that is used to synchronize the clocks of computers on a network. It ensures that devices maintain accurate and consistent time by coordinating with time servers. Next slide, please. Then the distributed denial of service attack disrupt a network service by overwhelming it with a flood of requests beyond its capacity. It exploits network protocol like UDP, DNS, or NTP, and often involves attackers with botnets that are networks of compromised machines. The DDoS attacks have different types of attacks, including amplification attacks and reflection attacks, exploiting vulnerabilities in protocols to amplify the impact. The outcome is services slowdown and outage for users due to the communication of malicious traffic. In the protocols that we studied, There are some examples of exploits like UDP flood that overwhelms a system with a flood of UDP packets. There is DNS amplification that exploits misconfigured DNS service to amplify attack traffic, like sending requests for as much information as possible to maximize the amplification effect, and NTP amplification as well, that exploits misconfigured NTP servers for traffic amplification. Next slide.
Hello, everyone. I'm Rodrigo. I'll talk about the negative selection algorithm. So as Caleb said, the NSA is a bio-inspired algorithm based on the mechanism of self and non-self discrimination of immune systems, which would be the ability to discriminate between normal cells in an immune system and the abnormal cells that can enter the system. This algorithm is divided in two steps, the training and the detection phase. The training is the first step, and it's where the detectors are generated and validated. So we have this number of detectors that is predefined, that we define by hand. And until we reach this number of detectors, we will keep generating more detectors. And we remove every detector that detects another detector. So basically, we remove every detector that generates a normal cell. And every detector has a detection radius, and that's how we know that a detector is detecting another detector. Next slide, please. The next step of the algorithm is the detection phase. Here, the algorithm compares a new object with the existing detectors. So for every object that hits the detection radius of a detector, they are recognized as an anomaly, and are so we flag this object. And if it doesn't detect, if it doesn't fall in the detection radius, so it's considered a normal object for the system, and it's not flagged as an anomaly. Next slide, please. Now I'll talk about our methodology and our results. We used the experimental data set proposed by Sharafaldin. This data set simulates several taxonomies of the DOS attacks. We used the UDP, NTP, and DNS protocols. Our initial strategy was to do an exploratory analysis of the database for each network protocol. And during this analysis, we checked for every null and infinity values and removed them. We normalized our data, and we also selected the most important features based on the Sharafaldin paper. And we ran a correlation map for each protocol to better understand the features that we were working with. If you see at the right, there is the part of our algorithm code. This is the generating, the function to generate our detectors. And next slide, please. And okay, so our database could be divided in two distinct categories, DDoS or benign. So DDoS are every row that is related to an attack, and benign is a normal traffic network. We used a version of the negative selection algorithm that has obtained a speed up of 4.4 when compared to previous versions that we worked with. And to train the algorithm, we used a database that contained only normal traffic. In this case, we used only the benign element of our database. And when we test the algorithm to see its performance, to measure its performance, we use the whole database. Our experiments were performed on Mac Cloud with the following specifications. And we analyzed the detection rate and execution times to understand the efficiency and performance of the algorithm when applied to DDoS attacks. And every measurement that we had is an average of 10 runs for each protocol. Next slide, please. Yeah, so the negative selection algorithm solution used to detect UDP DDoS attacks showed the highest detection rate of any protocol that of the 3 protocols that we used. The other 2 protocols, the detection rate was lower than expected, and also they had a higher false alarm rate when compared to the result of the UDP protocol. Below there is this table where it's the data that we collected. So QD is the amount of detectors, that is a variable that we set by hand. RD is the detection radius, so the detection radius of each detector. DR is detection rate. False alarm rate, FAR is the false alarm rate, and TE is execution time in seconds for each protocol that we have. Yeah, so we need to better understand as our next steps and as conclusion of this research, we need to better understand and analyze the network protocols features, so we can understand better the difference between the detection rates, especially the NTP, because it runs on the UDP protocol. We also would like to improve the performance of the negative selection algorithm. Even though it has the 4.4 speed up, it's still proved to be a problem, especially on the generating detectors function, because it's essentially a big for loop. And we also need to try to change some parameters at the negative selection algorithm, such as distance measures. So we calculate the distance between a detector and another detector using Euclidean distance, but we could change and use, for example, Manhattan distance, and to see if it has an impact on the detection rate. And also the geometry of the detectors. So right now our detectors are circles, and we could change their geometry to squares or even triangles to see if it better fits our problems that we are detecting. Those are our main references. Dasgupta is probably one of the most the one that most advocates for the negative selection algorithm. And we also put here Sharaf because we use a lot of their databases and taxonomy of DDoS attacks.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Rodrigo. I would like to thank you again, the ICICT 2024 Organization Committee, to enable us to be here at this virtual conference. Also would like to thank you, Mackenzie Presbyterian University, and our sponsors, McLeod, Sprace, FAPESP, that support us during this research paper and to be here at this conference. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
You.
So,
Thank
any
you.
questions?
Is there any comparative analysis also you have done? Hope I am audible to you.
Yes, we are listening to you.
Yes, sir, you are audible to us.
Yes, we made some comparison, but only using research papers. We did not re-execute it again to have the real results comparing to our experiments. So in other research papers, I think we described them on our paper. They are better than the NSA algorithm. So that's why we are planning to re-execute and changing the geometry, changing the radius, and changing some other parameters that the NSA algorithm allow us to do that.
Okay, but in your project, how you have clarified the accuracy purposes?
What do you mean, sorry, about the...
How the accuracy has been obtained? Is there anything in the measurements also you have measured? What are the accuracy parameters of your algorithm?
Do you remember, Rodrigo, how we
Yes.
measure?
Basically, our algorithm flags each occurrence of an anomaly, and then we check with the database that we have if it's the case that if it's really an anomaly or if it isn't. So we can check using this.
Basically, we are using unlabeled database, so that's where we compared our results that we use in our results.
Okay, great, great. Thank you, Professor Kalebi, for your justifications. All the best. Very good presentation indeed. And congratulations to all students as well. Thank you. We may go
Thank you,
ahead,
sir.
I
Thank
think, Karthik.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you.
Thank you, sir. So I would like to move forward to the next presentation. For the next presentation, I would like to call Ada for the paper title, A New Classification of Target Coverage Models in WSN Survey, Algorithms and Future Directions. Sir, you can proceed with your presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You hear me?
Yes, sir, you are audible to us.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ladies and gentlemen, hello. First of all, I would like to thank you for accepting to
Sir,
evaluate this.
your audible is a little bit low.
What?
Your audio is not clear.
No. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
No?
But still it's not clear. It's a little bit low.
What?
Your
What do
audio
you-
is not audible, sir. It's low.
Paper I am going to present to you entitled A New Classification of Target Coverage Models in Witness System Networks by Algorithm and Future Direction. This work is structured according to the following outline. I would begin the first section with a general introduction. Then in section 2, I will introduce the context of the paper and present the awareness on the problematics of this work, and I will in WSN in the third section. In the fourth section, I will focus on the presentation of and we end with a conclusion that summarizes the performance of our classification. This classification will let us to suggest hybrid strategies based on linear and non-linear coverage strategies in deterministic and certain 2D and 3D environment. Currently, the emergence of Windows social networks offers powerful distributed communication and monitoring and detection capabilities. The Windows social networks are characterized by free infrastructure and have organic networks offers the opportunities for low cost, easy to apply, fast and flexible installation in hard environment, and for variety of potential applications. The deployment suffered from diverse constraints in body. Those include limited memory, limited source power source or batteries, easy to be hacked, and limited and insecure radio links, and limited storage and processing capabilities. Consequently, the central issue of those problems is energy. The study of this problem, we may focus on the study of solving coverage problem strategies, especially target coverage. target coverage is defined by the answer to the sum question. Among them, we caught how can we find a minimum visual sensor cover set DSC to continuously fix and observe number of targets, and how to maximize the network lifetime and coverage performance when DSC is minimal. So the target coverage problem is in determining the most effective sensor schedule that aims to maximize the lifetime during which each target can be monitored optimally. So targets are said to be covered by CAD sensor node if any target within of this region can be detected and monitored by at least CAD. Naturally, the qualification of coverage problem depends strongly on the needs of the application in certain and uncertain environment, which is the several notions of coverage have emerged, such area coverage, area coverage, and target coverage. Even the human needs bring out different types and topologies. Among them, we quote dynamic topologies or types, static topologies. Some needs require permanent coverage of all targets in the area of interest, and other require periodic coverage with full or partial coverage of all targets in area of interest. The of state of art has guided us firstly in defining the relationship between different types of coverage in Windows social networks, as illustrated in Figure 5. The Figure 5 illustrates, for example, the barrier coverage is considered as area coverage, and the target coverage.
Yeah, I think I am audible to you.
Disconnection of internet.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I am audible to you.
As well.
Yeah, actually the time I think near about 3 minutes is left. Kindly please conclude your presentation within 3 minutes.
What? What do you mean?
Kindly conclude your presentation within 3 minutes. Please.
Yeah. The environment, either 2D or 3D, is affected by deterministic and uncertain events and targets. For those reasons, we propose this classification. This classification is divided into linear target coverage, type to maintain connectivity, and ensure perfect target coverage with disjoint social cover and deploy and maintain continuous target coverage. The second type is nonlinear target coverage, type to maintain continuous target coverage against all types of inspected event and target. Our classification is the objective, those types based basically on deployment strategies such random, deterministic, and hybrids. The objective of target coverage, one or key nodes according to the phenomenon stated, static target, mobile target, or hybrid. Angle strategies are proposed for coverage of static target-oriented single direction mode as trap. Strategies are directional angle strategies oriented single direction mode as head check, and the third strategies Directional angles are proposed for mobile targets and specific events in 3D or more, such as drone. We have proposed between the digit sensor cover set constructed and the maximum number of targets. This
So you are not audible. I think so he's facing some issue. Let's move forward to the next presentation. For the next presentation, I would like to call Imran Zulkaman for the paper title Audio Style Transfer Using a Modified Lightweight Timbron Pipeline. Sir, you can proceed with your presentation.
Yes, hello. I'm actually going to present on behalf of Dr. Imran. I'm one of the authors, Muhammad al-Muhandis. I'll be
It's okay,
sharing
sir.
my
You can
screen.
proceed with your presentation.
Yes, thank you.
But during the presentation, I kindly request to please switch on the camera also.
Yeah, okay, sure. I'll do it now.
It's required from Springer.
Can you see me?
Yeah, we can see you. We may go ahead. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Just one second. Okay, so my name is Muhammad al-Muhandis, and the authors for this paper are Ala, myself, Dr. Imran, and Mr. Ali, Engineer Ali Reza. So the paper is titled Audio Style Transfer Using a Modified Lightweight Timbertron Pipeline. As we move on in the presentation, we're going to understand more about this title, and because there's some keywords that will be explained in the presentation. So for the outline, we'll start with the literature review and then go to the methodology and then the data selection and cleaning, and finally the results and conclusion. So our research objective is basically transferring audio files from one genre to another and analyzing their effectiveness in real-world applications. So what we did is modify and build on previous approaches to have a more lightweight approach that can be used in memory and time-sensitive applications. So over here, okay, so for the literature review, we have done a couple to basically get an idea of the field and what has been done and what is missing. So for the first paper, which is by Engel and other authors, they used a WaveNet autoencoder to perform audio synthesis. And Metal, in 2017, he used approaches like Ulyanov's approach to obtain audio style transfer, as well as utilizing and optimizing time domain audio signals, so different domain signals for getting a higher quality audio synthesis. And then later in 2018, they used convolution neural networks for musical audio style transfer. And they used also multiple time frequency representations to combine content and style components. In Huzaifa and Weiss, in 2020, they used 1D CNN in audio style transfer. Passini in 2019. Now, as you can see, the first four are kind of still starting. They use neural network, like convolution neural networks. And now we're going to see that GANs, generative networks, are going to be introduced starting from 2018, 2019. So in 2019, Passini used Melgan VC, which is basically to convert audio signals from a source voice to a target voice. Wu et al. In 2018, they used GANs to transform singing voice from one style to another. And then Zhang et al. In 2019, they learned the latent space by basically using a variation autoencoder. And finally, in 2018, we have the StarGAN voice conversion as well, which is an unparalleled many-to-many voice conversion method that has real-time implementations. Moving on, sorry. Yeah, okay, so methodology. This is our paper mainly modifies or builds upon the original Timbertron pipeline. So the Timbertron pipeline was by Huang et al. In 2019. They had an input, and then they fed it into a cycle GAN, but to do that, they converted it into a CQT form, constant Q transform. And then the output from the cycle GAN was also CQT, and then they used a conditional wavenet to get back the output in the time domain. And then for us, our main differences are using a MEL spectrogram instead of CQT. We also do not have a conditional wavenet, and we just directly went from time domain to MEL spectrogram to cycle GAN, and then back to MEL spectrogram, and then we got the output. So basically, our input will be, for example, genre of, for example, classical audio, and then we convert it to a jazz audio. And the reason we use cycle GAN was because you can do it, basically, you can train unpaired data. So our contribution, as I've mentioned, that we don't have conditional wavenet. So this basically has reduced the model size because the reduction number of parameters, and therefore we can deploy it on edge devices for real-time applications where resources are scarce. We did not do this, but this can be something that can be explored later on. Okay, so for the data set and future engineering, so we use the public GTZAN data set. So our input to cycle GAN were all 3-second audio clips. The original was, I think, around 30 seconds. So we basically took 3-second clips from these audio clips that were found on the data set. And then the two, as I mentioned, were classical and jazz. So we're switching between classical and jazz. And the audio clips were around 100 from the classical and 99 from jazz. Actually, it was 100 from jazz, but there was one file that was corrupted, so we had to remove it. And then we used, these are the parameters that we used for basically converting from the input to the MEL spectrogram. And the same parameters were also used to convert back from MEL spectrogram to the output. Okay, so how we validated our method. So as you can see here, we have in cycle GAN, we can go from domain A to domain B, and we can also go from domain B to domain A. So basically, that's what we did. So we went from classical audio to jazz audio, and then using the other generator from the cycle GAN, we went from jazz audio to classical audio. So yeah, so basically, we went from 4-cycle style A to style B, and then we took the output and fed it back from style B to style A. So basically, ideally, the first classical audio should be equal to the last classical audio. As you can see, the shape is kind of similar. Also, when you listen to it in the YouTube video that the link is supposed to be in the paper, basically the audio sounds similar to the original audio. There's some noise, but this can be improved, and we're going to explain about it in the next slides. So for the results, we just did a questionnaire for students. I don't know if I mentioned this, but we are from American University of Sharjah. So we did it inside the university. We took, I don't remember exactly how the number of people we did it. I think it was mentioned in the paper, but over here, so we have the first question on a scale from 1 to 5, how well the model has performed from going from classic to jazz. So basically, they just listen to the output, and they vote based on a scale from 1 to 5, with 5 being the highest. And then did the two classical files sound the same before and after the conversion back to classic? So basically, what we did was we sent them the original classical audio and the final classical audio, and we were asking them, do they sound the same? And some of them, or like majority of them, said yes. Some said somewhat, and minority said no. Okay, so for the future work, we're gonna experiment with larger data sets, because as you can see, we just used 100 original audio files. And of course, when we split them into 3-second clips, we have more training data, but still, I don't think in audio, it's better to have a bigger data set. But this was just given the resources that we had, and this is how we went with it. And also, we want to train it for longer training periods and see maybe if it improves or if it's the same. We also want to listen to feedback from musicians and audio professionals. We did the questionnaire on university students, but we can also take feedback from musicians, audio professionals, to see maybe there's something that we have to do and to improve the audio that we get as an output. We can experiment with ensemble models, transfer learning, also speech style. We don't have any speech. We have like a couple that had very little speech. Maybe that was also affecting in the noise, but majority of our training data had no speech. So we want to also be able to convert from one style to another that includes speech, and also test it on real-time and interactive applications. So as I mentioned, we removed the WaveNet, and by removing WaveNet, we reduced the number of parameters. So maybe a good next step is to do it on, like, to test it actually in real-time and interactive applications, since the model is lightweight. And these are the references used, not in the paper, but in this presentation. And yeah, thank you so much. And if you have any questions,
Yeah, Mohammed,
more
very
than happy
good
to answer.
presentation indeed. The
Thank you
style
so
of
much.
your literature review presentation was very good.
Thank you so much.
Just want to know one more point, that why you have used cycle GAN rather than GAN, and what is the basic difference between these both two?
Yeah, sure. So cycle GAN, because we want to go from domain, like domain A to domain B. So this was originally cycle GAN was done on image style transfer. So what we were thinking
Means
was,
how many generator or how many discriminators are actually there while
there is
using cycle GAN?
there is two. There is like a forward cycle and a backward cycle. So there is
Okay.
one that, yeah.
And what are the basic objective function actually you have used in the cycle GAN?
What do you mean, sir, by objective function?
Objective function means some adversarial loss or something.
Oh
What
yeah,
are the basic functions?
yeah. We use basically the normal identity loss, the normal GAN loss, and there was also a third one. I think adversarial or identity
Cycle
cycle consistency loss. Yeah.
consistency loss, I think also you have done.
Yes. So basically, we used the same like cycle GAN that was used for images, and we used the same with.
And at
in
last,
yeah.
in the conclusion, can you come to that?
Future work.
You have given longer training periods.
Yes.
And
So
when you have trained right now, what is the basic time duration?
it was there in the YouTube video. I think it was 9, 10, something like that, but I'm not 100% sure because I don't have the data right now. It was around 9, 10 hours if I'm not mistaken. But there's a YouTube video link in the paper. It shows like the code. It shows also the output, like you can listen to the audio, and you can see also like the losses. So yeah.
Okay, very good presentation indeed, and topic is also good enough. And thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you.
Thank
Over
you so
to
much.
yeah. Over
Thank
to
you, sir.
Richa. Yeah, we can go ahead with the second presentation, third presentation.
Thank you, sir. Now we are
Thank you.
moving to the second presentation. For second presentation, I like to call Mesam Tahir for the paper title Developing a Serious Game for Acute Pain Detection by Utilizing Virtual Reality and Brain-Computer Interferences. Sir, you can proceed with your presentation.
Okay. All right, I hope you have the screen and my voice.
Yes, sir. Your screen is visible and
All
you're
right.
audible too.
Is the audio is good?
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much for having me. My name is Mesam Tahiri, and I'm from Inland Norway University, Norway. And today I'll be presenting our research project, acute pain detection using BCI or brain-computer interfaces, and also the development of a serious game for this research. And to start with, I would like to talk a little bit about project objectives we have. We are taking a novel approach to solve an issue that has been in our life for a long time. And there hasn't been a lot of research done in this area as well. So we're trying to find a new method to detect pain and enhance patients' care and help patients who have experience pain. All of us, I think, in life experience pain once. So this is not something that we don't know a lot about it. So, and we are using cutting edge technology and using VR and also in brain computer interfaces in this research, as well as machine learning algorithms to detect the pain. And to start with, I would like to show you what I mean when I say brain computer interfaces. For those who don't know, we use a headset called brain computer interface headset that is using a system called 1020 system, which divides the scalp or the brain to different sections with the 10 to 20 system. And as you can see here, I presented a open BCI headset that has these electrodes on top of them, and they are sitting on the part of the scalp or the brain to detect the waves and signals. And as you can see here, I have the graph that shows the raw data that is coming from the headset. And obviously it's not human readable, and you don't understand and you cannot analyze this data properly. So in order to read this data properly, we're going to use fast Fourier transform, or FFT, to get this clear the signal, reduce the noises, compress and filter the data to make it more readable for human, for us. And also there are different brain waves that we can read and analyze using this method. And as you can see here in this example, we have some I'm not sure if you can see my mouse, but I'm going to use the pointer. As you can see here, we have some artifacts, and we also have this is the original signal, and this is what we constructed using our method. And you can see in this area that we have experienced pain. And if I go to the next slide, I can show you how we what part of the brain and what type of data we gather in order to analyze our data. And to talk about this, we just have to know that the brain has different brainwave classification that I presented here. And some of the research shows that some of these brain waves or part of the brain has correlation between they have some relationship between pain and no pain. So, and these are the brain waves that we use in this research to analyze the pain, experiencing the pain. And these are different methods we use to gather the information and analyze the data. And we use first two different methods and to see if we can detect the pain. Obviously, it's not a perfect method, and that's why we're doing more research to make it perfect. So the first method, we just gather all the brain signals that I showed, brain waves that I showed you in the previous slide, and we find the average of those signals whenever the pain occurs, and we find the average out of them. And then this is one way that we could basically detect the pain. Another one was to find every single, isolate them basically, and find at the end, find the average of them to basically see if we can detect the pain. It wasn't that accurate, so we tried to find different approaches and different ways and utilize machine learning algorithms to make this process better and more accurate. So this is basically the traditional way of doing pain detection in the hospitals or clinics. You just go there and they just measure your pain based on this graph. And this is what we're trying to overcome and make it more advanced. And this is an example that we created a simulation or a game that we could detect. We put up the headset and we had a VR simulation that if we call it with a stacking level, that's the patient or the player could report the pain, and also we could record where and what type of signals produce that pain, so we could detect it this way. Again, this is this is not very accurate. Still, we are not using the best method possible. And then what we try to do, the next step is to not use this traditional method or style. So we are going to just isolate the pain and not the pain, remove this traditional method. We just say, if you feel pain, press 1 or press the click or report it. And if you don't feel pain, then don't report it. It's going to be 0. As you can see in this graph, if the patient experiences pain and presses a button or a potentiometer or a button to report the pain, every time the patient feels the pain, presses the button, and then this patient's data will be gathered, and we're feeding this data to the machine learning algorithm. And then we create a data set for that specific patient. And then we run our simulator and test it out to see if the algorithm is working. So this is the method we are going to use now. And this is the sequence diagram of how this process is working. I'm not gonna go through all of it, but I just tell you that we have a user that is putting up the headset and has a trigger in his hand. And whenever the patient feels the pain, or we of course inducing the pain or introducing the pain to the body, which is we try to find an ethical way to do that. And in order to capture the data, the user needs to report the pain by pressing the button. Then we gather the signals and we get some sample data. And then we send this data to machine learning algorithm. We train the machine learning algorithm, we train the model. And after we're done with that, the next step would be to test the accuracy of the data. So we feed this algorithm to the simulation we have created and working on right now. So whenever, then now we introduce the pain again to the patient, and we will see the result of that pain, as you can see here. If the pain occurs, we can see it with the color pain or no pain. And this is how we detect the pain using this method we are working on. And this is the simulation and that we are creating. We have created some levels already, but we're trying to improve this one as well to make it more advanced and using it. Before it didn't actually use that much of the algorithm, machine learning algorithm. We're trying to improve this algorithm. We have different scenarios and situations that user needs to every time log into the system, and their data or data sample is going to be loaded based on previous experiences. And if we can see and detect the improvement, then we can report that this session or training session has been useful and help the patient to improve their situation. And to conclude this presentation, and we observed that some the EEG or brain computer interface produces some delta on the delta channel produces some data when the pain occurs in the body or system, and the also increasing at gamma power also shows increasing this gamma power shows also is an indication of pain as well. And we believe that EEG has potential to detect the pain, and it hasn't basically been done, I would say, practically, at least based on our research. There are not a lot of research done in this area. And we're trying to find new methods and algorithms using, of course, AI to make this project and results much better. And to do this, we have some concerns, and we obviously need some help because we are not doctors in this field, and we are not practitioners, or we are not basically physiotherapists. So we have to validate the result of the data we get. So we are not actually sure if we are on the right track unless somebody validate our data and the results. So we need to work with hospitals to validate our data. We have difficulties and challenges. One of them is the ethical part, that obviously we're introducing pain to the patients to get data for now for the testing sessions. Obviously, if we start working with hospitals, we already have patients who have experienced pain or they are in pain already. But also the accuracy, because this type of headsets, they are non-invasive headsets, so they probably have some noise and they move. So we are not sure if we get the accurate data as well. So we have to work on that. And again, we have some challenges that we're trying to overcome and still working on the machine learning algorithm to find the best possible solutions. And we're very confident that this is gonna produce a good result, and hopefully we can publish more articles and papers related to this. And I will be available if you have any questions regarding this. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Professor, can you please come to your concluding slide where you have
Yes.
mentioned about biomarkers?
Yeah.
But how EEG having some potential as biomarker of pain perception? Can you please define it as, because biomarker is something different. And with EEG, how you can collate with that?
Well, based on the research so far, we find out that these brainwave channels, basically, some of them are producing the waves that is correlated with pain. So I think there are indications in the brain signals that we get that every time the pain introduced to the body or to the system, we get some biomarkers or some
The
responses
biomarker
from.
can be included, I think, with some chemical reactors.
Yeah. So we talk about inducing pain, or in that case, it could be releasing the chemicals. Yeah. But again,
Yes,
they are
which
they are
points may be
connected.
mentioned.
Yeah.
And one more point, sir, you have mentioned some machine learning algorithms you have used. What are
Yeah.
the actual machine learning algorithms? The names has not been disclosed yet.
For now, we are using TensorFlow to using supervised learning to learn the patterns of
So
these
what
signals.
actually the algorithm is? The algorithm, and also you have mentioned about some AR/VR technologies you have used.
Yeah.
That is not clear actually. That is the point.
Yeah, the reason it's not here is because my article was 20 pages. I had to remove those parts from the article, and they are not here anymore because it's not in the article, so I removed them. But we are developing our algorithm, so we are working on creating a new algorithm using TensorFlow and sklearn. So we're trying to find out the best possible algorithm. So we are working on creating the algorithm.
Nice, nice. I am also working
Yeah.
in brain-computer interface. I'll be sharing my papers also with you.
Perfect.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's
Very
perfect.
good.
Thank you. Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
All the best.
I think Valentina she has a question. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for your presentation. I actually have like a couple of points and a couple of questions. So
Yes.
one was how exactly, because it was not clear from your presentation how you introduce pain to the patients, because like I really think that's quite an ethical question. I work with VR, so we don't do such stuff, but you always need ethics approval. So I will just point all my questions and suggestions. And I think if you really have problems with pain, maybe if you have other emotions like joy, for example, if you can also have like signals that identify joy, maybe with VR you can create some joyful experience, because then you don't really need to have an approval for the pain like generation. So then the question is like how exactly you created pain, and the second is more conceptual. Why do you need VR for that? Because you can just like hit someone with a hammer, let's say, and and then you will still have pain in the interface. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for asking this. Actually, as I said, our article was 20 pages. So we are working at the game school, basically. So we are making serious games here. So the reason we are using VR is to create an environment for patients to immerse and try to rehabilitate So this is a rehabilitation simulation, but in order to know if this rehabilitation is working and the pain is reducing over the time, we needed a simulation that actually records the angle, for example, of their arm, right? So every time the arm gets better, so we can see the angle is increasing and the pain is also reduced. So that's why we are using a VR simulation, so we can track the hands and the angles. And we have also this VR technology that's tracking the hand and give us the perfect angles. So that's why we are using VR. Also, for the question of how we introducing the pain, for the first research, we tested on ourselves. Well, one of my students put his hand basically in cold water to experience that one. Also, we have this type of technologies that they're injecting electricity to the body, introduces some electricity, which is this is ethical. This is for medical purposes. But again, we have problems with that, obviously. So we have to work with hospitals here in Norway to test our project. We understand that. Yeah, thank you very much for asking.
Maybe one additional suggestion that I just noted down is that potentially you can use other data. For example, I don't know how notable it is if people are getting used to pain, but maybe you can also use face tracking, like that when they have pain, they produce a different emotion. And as well as there are like other, maybe, I don't know if pulse changes or if other like skin conductivity changes. I think this also can be something to consider too, because I think the problem is that now you can only detect pain when you produce it to people. So if they just experience it, you never know if that's the data that is.
So the machine language, the machine learning language is learning the pain. Whenever the pain happens in that person's body, some certain waves produced. So the machine learns that pattern. So next time that person experiences the pain, the machine is going to tell us this person is experiencing pain right now. That's the method we are using. Okay, so I hope it's clear.
Yeah, thank you. It's in general very interesting for me, so that's why I'm asking a suggestion. But yeah, thank you.
No, thank you. We are open for collaboration. Thank you very much for your suggestions as well. Thank you.
Thank you, sir and ma'am. And so now we are moving to the next presentation. For the next presentation, I would like to call Nuriyanti Mustari for the paper title HR Development Strategies Through Training Towards Superior Tourism on Department of Tourism, Youth and Sports at Regency Indonesia. Ma'am, you can proceed with your presentation.
Okay, so
now you can share your screen.
My partner, yes. Please, Mr. Herman. Please, Mr. Herman.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. And as the information that in here, Indonesia, this is 11 p.m. Yeah. Then first of all, thanks to the moderator for this opportunity. I'm as the member of Nuriyanti
Your screen is not visible.
Yeah, okay. Can you see my slide? Can you see my slide? Hello?
Yes, sir. Now it is visible.
Okay. I'm going to present our paper entitled Human Resources Development Strategy Through Training Towards Superior Tourism on the Department of Tourism, Youth and Sports at Bulukumba Regency, Indonesia. Okay, talk about introduction. Human resources are one of the important aspects that support the success of a tourism industry. Human resources are an asset or driving force in an organization. So tourism management requires professional human resources. In this case, the government which develops institutional development strategies or tourism services. And human resource department as an organized learning effort aimed to increasing personal growth and professional performance of employees. To ensure the achievement of organizational goals in time of crisis requires agility. The agencies must be able to prepare and allocate resources to coordinate the necessary mechanism and the use organizational resource and knowledge correctly. So from the picture, this is how to make a PNC board at Bulukumba Regency. Tourism human resources needs to understand how important competition is in the world in this day and age. It is not are also increasing, which is
So you're not audible. Your voice is cracking.
Excuse me?
Sir, your voice is cracking in between.
Oh, sorry. Okay. The tourism industry has the authority to provide information regarding the existence of existing tourist potential and attraction, as well as marketing them to the public. So Bulukumba, as one of the districts in South Sulawesi, is certainly one of the areas most popular with local and foreign tourists. This is based on the potential processed by the area called Abuta Pandrita Lopi, with its cultural richness and quiet, diverse tourism potential. Okay, this is the picture of Bira Beach. Okay, and the contribution of the tourism sector has recently become increasingly large for a region. Bulukumba district is no exception, as the number of foreign or domestic tourist visits increases, which has a positive effect on the economy, which should be followed by an increase in human resources. If the quality of Bulukumba's tourism human resources is weak, it could set a bad precedent for tourists in the future, because tourism cannot survive on its natural beauty alone. Therefore, the quality of tourism human resources need to receive attention by increasing their capacity and competence. Okay, based on the many tourist destinations that Bulukumba has, it certainly requires human resources who must have potential in the tourism sector. Tourism management in Bulukumba, which has many tourist destinations. You can see from the picture. The first picture is Titik Nol that has at Bulukumba Regency, Glass Bridge, and then Cliff Aparalang or Aparalang Cliff. Requires quality human resources. This happens because continues to develop, so the human resource capabilities also needs reason. Okay, the aim of this research is to fill the void or gaps left by previous researchers by examining human resource development strategies in the tourism sector. This research is very important to carry out because so far it has not been explored further regarding human resources development strategy models, especially in requirement, education, and training in improving the quality and competency of human resources in the tourism sector. From several problems explained in the previous paragraph, a question was formulated from this research: what are the aspects of requirement, education, and training in the human resource development strategy in the tourism sector to realize superior tourism in Bulukumba Regency? Okay, to talk about result and discussion, I give to my friends to continue my presentation or to continue our presentation. Okay, please, Miss Nuryanti Mustari.
Okay, thank you. Method.
Thank you, sir. Any questions?
Excuse me. My friends will continue my explanation about the result.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Sorry.
Okay. Okay, please, Ms. Nurian.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. I continue presentation method. This study is a qualitative method, and then the informant, if this research were 8 employees at the Bulukumba Regency Tourism, Youth and Sport Office, to BKPSDM employee, and 4 people from the community as human resources who have an important influence on developing tourism in Bulukumba Regency. The technique for determining informants use purposive sampling to obtain appropriate data and information needed in this research to strengthen research result. The technique used were observation, interview, and documentation. The analysis used is source triangulation, technical triangulation, time triangulation, and the help of the in vivo 12+ application. Result and discussion, recruitment can be carried out to add new employees to work unit whose activities require high level of activity. The result of the data visualization from in vivo 12+ application so that the selection process is the dominant indicator discussed by informant during the interview process. Based on the picture above, it can be conclude that the recruitment process carried out by BKPSDM has gone well because the interview results are more positive than negative. And then education, based on the formal education qualification data above, it can be seen that the formal education level of employee at the Bulukumba Regency Tourism, Youth and Sport Office dominates with 16 strata, bachelor degree with a percentage of 53%, followed by a master degree to educational level. 9 people with a percentage 30% and 5 of them associate degree, senior high school and junior high school level.
Kindly please conclude, madam. Please conclude this presentation.
Ma'am, you are muted.
Yeah, conclusion, the recruitment process requires an equal distribution of employees so that the human resources available are more balanced. The recruitment process at the Tourism, Youth and Sports Department is directly supervised by BKSDM Bulukumba Regency. Education is an important aspect in the development of human resource, both formal education and non-formal education. So formal education, employees have initial basics so that they can easily complete the work they are entrusted with. However, when an employee has an educational background that is not appropriate to this field of work, he can compensate for this by having a lot of experience or by carry out education other than that carry out informal education, such as attending various kind of technical guidance, training. Providing training for employees and human resource development strategy that can hone the skill or ability that employees have. Some of these include skills training that can hone employee skill organized by the Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy. There is also language training which can provide insights so that employee know several languages, both national and foreign language. Okay, thank you, sir.
Sir, any questions?
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Karthik. No questions. We can move to the next presentation, please.
Okay, sir. I would like to call Tamta for the paper title, The Role of Artificial Intelligence in the Process of Improving Communication System of Strategic Objects. Ma'am, you can proceed with your presentation.
Thank you. Thank you. I will start. I will share now my presentation and I will start. Can you see presentation?
Yeah, it's visible, ma'am. Please go ahead.
Of course. Thank you. At first, I would like to express my gratitude to the organizers and the participants of this scientific conference. This is very interesting, and I think that like this scientific conference are very important for researchers. And now I want to introduce myself. I'm Tamta Varshadidze, Doctor of Business Administration for Batumi Rustaveli State University from Georgia. Now I will speak, my article is about the role of artificial intelligence in the process of improving communicational system of strategic objectives. In global developing digital society always bring challenge from business, which causes constant change in modern and innovation management approach. The change that accompany digitalization offer companies and organizations a variety of innovation scenarios and strategic opportunities for development. This process may involve a structural and accurate analysis of the forecast motivation and effect development, determining success in the transformation process in the short, medium, and large term. Also, in today's global economy, organizations offer worry that finding a workforce that is fluent in advanced digital technology is a big obstacle. The formation of artificial intelligence and its implementation in various field is the result of a technological process. It must be noted that artificial intelligence is becoming more and more important in the process of corporate communication. It is changed the way of information exchange between market participants and forming new approach. Now I want to show the theoretical framework about our article, and you can see in our presentation. At first, we are outline object of strategic purpose, port, and then artificial intelligence connect, and after this we get the effective of communicational channels. Now technological change was the thing ever before the pandemic, but it significantly intensified after the pandemic. It means that the deep digitalization of the already digital world will be one of the most long-term effects of COVID pandemic. When we are discussing the optimization of communicational system, it is imperative to underload the establishment of a network of communicational systems serving strategically significant economic and in this research we try to evaluate the process taking place nowadays, the dramatic change that occurred in our century, which have developed in all parts of the world caused by the COVID pandemic, has demonstrated that a business must regularly upgrade their available research. During COVID pandemic, direct exchange of documents was impossible as face-to-face communication was prohibited, for example, a representative of a ship entering to port not able to meet with the port representative to exchange document. Accordingly, the port accordingly this not allowed to meet the port representative, and they was allowed to exchange their document via the electronic systems and turnovers via the terminal. Ultimately, artificial intelligence may continue to be a vision that empower human investment, complex program and project plan, and become a means of the transforming the possibility of the new challenge. Now I want to continue about the countries, about Georgia and Georgia port, especially the Batumi port, due to the geopolitical situation of Georgia. All of this is reflect in the increase of processed cargo flow in the port of Georgia. Batumi port is the oldest and also the most important oil transportation port in the Caucasus region. The Georgia Ministry of Economy and Sustainable Development has introduced due to use a quantitative approach, which show the increase in the amount of the cargo handled by the port of Batumi in 2022 compared to the prior years. Two of international economic corridor connect China to Europe. New European Land Bridge, referred to as the North Corridor, and China, Central Asia, West and Asia Economic Corridors, known as the Middle Corridor. The new European Land Bridge contain of real transformation known for China to Europe through Kazakhstan, Russia and Belarus. China, Central Asia, West and Asia Economic Corridor connect the road and railway network from China to European through Central Asia, and the use of the Georgians, Turkey and Azerbaijani. The same artificial intelligence technique are being used by same of the biggest port in the world, includes Singapore, Rotterdam and Hamburg. They use this artificial intelligence and they have the big change making decision support system based on behavioral predictions. Modern is one technique to enhance operation. It analyzes data, consider more question and effectively that a human could ever hope to use deep learning techniques. Artificial intelligence is used to identify a pattern in the logistic chain and detail forecast time of when ship, truck, and containers will change. The terminal platform powered by artificial intelligence can forecast that cargo departing 6 weeks will be 65% large and usually. All Dutch ports go smart using state-of-the-art PCS developed by port-based. National covered port-based provide more than 40 service to around 3,200 containers from the sea shipping sector. Safe and effective data exchange is possible during all day and during the night. Open platform between the communication with the Netherlands port and European Union. By optimizing their logistical process, the later gain go up to 245 million. And to conclude this article, I must say that without doubt, artificial intelligence has a lot of benefit for using in ports and terminals. However, the issuer mentioned this have a lot of benefits for the ports and terminals. As research has shown regarding automatization, there is no one size fits all process approach for every port or terminals needs. Therefore, when using artificial intelligence tools, ports and terminals must have appropriate map of the needed. The technical can be best used. And also, when we are speaking about the positive sides, Netherlands, there are disadvantages such as at first often communication system multi-function, technical delays, and lack of information hinder the use in the decision-making process, which affect the result. And the second, employees are not properly familiar with the computerization system, which is a problem in terms of low technological skills. And the last, increased use of technological use usually hinds the creative and innovation approach of staff. This was about our article. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Any questions, sir?
No question, as because this is not from my domain.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Nice presentation as it is. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Now
Yeah,
we are moving towards the closing remark of the
Thank you,
session.
sir.
I think there is a question from Mohammed Tawid.
Yes, it's okay. Yes, I was just thank you so much. It's a nice talk here. I would like to ask about the artificial intelligence that you are talking about here. What exactly
Yes.
are you using? What exactly in artificial intelligence you are using?
We don't use artificial intelligence. We research the ports and communicational systems who used, for example, in the Netherlands, and how they improve their work. And we suggest our Batumi port to use artificial intelligence to improve their communicational systems with other ports, and this will increase their income and also improve their communication with other systems.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Any more questions?
Yes, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Hello.
sir.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, will we get any like recording, like this recording or not?
I don't understand. Can you repeat?
Yeah, I understand your concern. You may email to the conference organizer, and they will take the decision for sending you the recording.
Of course. Our research, when we done, we have two type of representative. We connect the sailors, 100 sailors. We send emails, and they send the answers. And after this, we discuss with them, and then we connect the IMO, the International Maritime Organization, to connect this result with their result, and we find out that in our port we don't have the new system like the artificial intelligence, and this is in our article, these results.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you,
You're
sir.
welcome.
Now we are moving towards the closing remark. I sincerely thank our authors for their excellent presentation and contribution in this session, and all our participants for being a part of this international conference. I hope this session was informative enough. We, on behalf of the whole team, thank you for your support during the 9th version and all the previous 8th version of the conference. We will be happy to have you in the 10th version in 2025. All the presenters will be getting their digital certificates through email within 2 working days. Further, all the papers have already forwarded to the Springer. The publication will be live within 6 months. Kindly cooperate with the team of ICICT 2024. I also thank our session chair, Dr. Tanupriya, for chairing the session. This is the token of appreciation from ICICT and Global Knowledge Research Foundation and partners. Sir, kindly acknowledge our participants.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, all the participants. We can go ahead, please.
Thank you, sir. Now I would love to extend my gratitude to our next session chair, Professor Mohammed Tahir, for chairing this session. Sir, this is the token of appreciation from Team ICICT 2024 and Global Knowledge Research Foundation and partners. Sir, kindly address our participants.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to have you all of you today. It was very nice talks. I really appreciate the talks here. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I request everyone to kindly turn on their cameras for a quick virtual snapshot. Thank you, everyone. It was a wonderful session. Stay safe, stay connected, take care. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.